This is about as bad as it gets for the Boston Celtics. They looked horrible defensively, almost as bad on offense. Jaylen Brown, I don't know where his head's at. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beantown, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamp. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis, recap the madness. Every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Primetime japping D White on the sideline. Raining Jace, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered every day, Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts when they play on the weekend. Orlando on Friday, Atlanta on Saturday. I got podcasts for you after each of those games. So 7 days of podcasting, which means you better be subscribed so you can get these dropped directly to your device. And you can watch the show on YouTube if you prefer and get into the comment section. I'm sure the comment section is going to be crazy after this loss to the Toronto Raptors. I'm John Karalis. I've been covering the Boston Celtics for about 20 years now, doing it as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal, the author of a couple of Celtics books, including Built Different, which celebrates Banner 18. They better get back on track so I can write a book about Banner 19. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Celtics lose to the Toronto Raptors 110-97. I get to individual performances later on. The bad, which is Jaylen Brown, Derek White's shooting, again, KP and Pritchard, the good. But let's start with this question. And feel free to answer this in the comment section on YouTube. Worst loss of the season? Is this rock bottom for the Celtics? This was, it's funny because I'm watching this and you know me, I've been pretty even keeled with these losses. Like, yes, they're frustrating and yeah, I get it. Like this has been not great to watch, but I haven't seen it be this bad. For some reason, this loss felt worse. And I'm looking around the other writers and I'm seeing the other writers have the same kind of reaction. So I'm like, it's not just me. And, you know, you hear, you watch the post game on NBC Sports Boston and you see somebody like Caleb Burton say that this is like, this one, like, I'm going to get mad at this one. This one, it's not sitting well with me. The other losses, I feel like, okay, you know what? It happens. This is clearly a frustrating time. This is clearly a down stretch for them. But I haven't really been negative about these losses. This one I hated. This loss bothers me for some reason. Maybe because we've seen them, like, this was supposed to be like a game where they learn their lesson, for lack of a better term. We've seen them lose to the Kings, struggle to beat the Pelicans. You could say, hey, a couple of shots fall. DeJounte Murray doesn't go completely like Steph Curry. Maybe he shoots a little bit more normally. And this isn't going to be as bad as it was or it felt. And after the game, everybody's like, yeah, Porzingis is like, yeah, man, we got it. I believe in it wholeheartedly, upbeat. In this game, you go to Porzingis afterwards, and the tone was definitely down. He was definitely down after this game. He was not happy. He said that they lacked spirit and personality. They're going through some stuff right now, and it's a crappy feeling. I'm cleaning up their comments, but kind of along those lines. I think everybody is aware, and this is why I'm saying maybe this is a rock bottom loss, not because just of how they played, but I think everybody understands that this one felt different. This one felt like they didn't even care. Like they didn't even care to try in the second half. Not even just the second half, by the way. That long stretches of the first half were awful. And there's just a part of me that was watching this game like, come on, guys. Come on. At least show me something. At least show me that you give a crap about this. I don't care that you're missing shots. If the Celtics play well and they shoot 30% from 3 and they lose, I'm never bothered by that. I'm really never bothered by that. Cold shooting and even a cascading effect of, all right, cold shooting, meaning then you have to turn around. All right, we're going to try to get to the rim, or I'm going to try to do too much. All the stuff that Tom and I were talking about yesterday, and then I've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. I don't really care necessarily about bad shooting leading to tough defense, leading to hurried offense, leading to too much isolation because guys are trying something. If you see the effort there and you see the mental kind of engagement mostly there, then I can chalk up some of these losses as, wow, everybody's going through it. Derek White's going through a monster slump. A bunch of guys just are struggling to hit shots, and the cascading effect of that is having a ripple effect on their performance. It's something that every team tends to go through every once in a while. The Celtics last season, the Cavs this season, the Thunder this season. There's the you hear people online, you see people online talking like the touched by God season where nothing seems to go wrong. You're like, wow, this is weird that nothing is going wrong. What the Celtics have been going through is a little bit more of a normal kind of season, even for a good team. But this loss just made me feel like they didn't care about any of that stuff, that they didn't care, or not all of them, but a few of them just didn't seem to really care much about, yeah, we're going through a rough patch. It was the worst I have felt about this team. Even that second half against OKC, where it was like, the second half against OKC was, I'll quote Kristaps Porzingis, we played stupid. And that's frustrating, but I can at least look at that and be like, they tried too hard. They tried to do things that were out of character. That stuff, fixable. This stuff is bothersome. The defense was awful. And if the Celtics of last season faced this kind of defense, they'd win by 50. Let's talk about this, because what I saw defensively was so gross, and then offensively horrible. I'm going to save the Jaylen Brown stuff for later. That's going to be like my segment 3. I'm going to go team, defense, and offense when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. This is the best offer yet right here. $300 to keep the action going. FanDuel app, super easy to navigate. They have a variety of bets to keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings, whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs. FanDuel has you covered. Just go to FanDuel.com, sign up. Make sure you're using the tools that they offer you right away when you sign up, right away when you log in. It says set your limit. Make sure you're setting your budget so you're not going overboard. You know what you can spend. You know what you can afford to lose. Set that budget. Have some fun. And if you happen to lose that, that's fine. Come back when you've got, get paid again and have some more fun if you'd like. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. Get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's show is also brought to you by Skims. When I found out that Skims was making underwear for men, I was super intrigued. My wife loves Skims. Trust me, Skims has a lot of our money already. But when I was told they have underwear for men, I'm very excited to give it a try, and it does honestly live up to the hype. They sent me a couple of pairs, and let me tell you, they are at the front of the line when I do my laundry. Be like, let me get my Skims, because the fit it's just super comfortable, right? It's the right style. It's it just feels good. Whether I'm going to the gym, I'm active, I'm walking around, whether I'm exercising, walking the dogs, whatever it is, it just feels comfortable. It's perfect. They move with me. They don't lose their shape. They stay in place. That's the last thing you want, is to be the guy that's like picking at underwear that's not where it's supposed to be. Super comfortable and really reliable. It's just consistently good. When it comes to a guy in his underwear, you just want that pair that feels comfortable. So I know I've gotten a few, and I'm going to go buy more because this is becoming my favorite pair of boxer briefs. So the lightweight material feels amazing. It's almost like you're wearing nothing at all, quoting Ned Flanders. Shop Skims Men at skims.com/LockedOnNBA and Skims stores, brick and mortar stores. Let them know we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select this show in the drop-down menu that follows so they know we sent you. Skims.com/LockedOnNBA. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. If you see two podcasts on the audio feed, one of them is Postcast with Steve Lennox. He's firing up a show immediately after the game ends. It's like final buzzer. A couple minutes later, he's live on Locked On Sports Boston. Then that audio comes onto this feed. And then I'm going through all the post game. And then after that, after I hear what the guys have to say and go through everything, I'm here with a more in-depth podcast, a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more deep, leaning on my days playing and all my years covering the league. So check out Locked On Postcast. The garbage defense. It's my bullet point. If you're listening, I have bullet points on my YouTube page, and the second bullet point is garbage defense. I cannot stress enough, this wasn't just like sloppy defense. This was hot garbage. All they had to do was run a couple of pick and rolls, right? You run one, the Celtics kind of maybe they kept up with that. And then they flow into another one, and then is all hell broke loose. Easy runs to the basket, wide open shots, just points in the paint galore. The Raptors points in the paint, 60 points in the paint to 40 for Boston. I don't care necessarily about losing points in the paint, but not by that much, not by giving up the types of baskets that they gave up. Okay, third quarter, you had Jakob Poeltl go kind of nuts. And okay, that's going to happen sometimes. Poeltl can score in bunches, but they just kept giving up basket after basket. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Sheed, like every Bruce Brown got to the rim. It was so many different guys that were just getting to the rim, easy looks, offensive rebounds, second chance points. It was all just, I cannot stress how terrible this was. You see guys, okay, if you're chasing over the top, you see when it's lazy, guys take these big looping, like you could draw a line in the on the court, and it's like this big U shape. They don't even have the desire to stop their body's momentum. I think that's the best way I can put it. Where you're running in one direction, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna. They're not stopping on a dime and turning. They're not planting and pivoting. They're just kind of slowly jogging, like, all right, as if they're running so fast that they can't stop themselves. They look like Wile E. Coyote running. His momentum just takes him off the side of the cliff. Like he can't stop himself. But it's ridiculous the way they played this, because all you have to do is plant, drop your shoulder, push off, and go around that pick and just right behind the guy. So this way, if you're playing drop coverage, you feel the guy behind you. If you go up for a layup, there's a rear view contest. Derek White is generally really good at that. You can sometimes bother a shot from behind, block the shot. If you're chasing a guy over the top like that, and into the drop coverage, that's a great way to force like those mid-range, those contested, somewhat bothered mid-range shots. That would be great defense. But what ends up happening is you chase over the top, like you're not even chasing, you're big looping chase, quote unquote, over the top. And that means your drop coverage guy has to cover two guys. What's he going to do? He's got to step up. He's got to lean back. And as soon as he stepped up, drop it off to the pick setter who's rolling, and boom, easy shots. How many times did I see? I probably saw that 5-6 times in the third quarter alone. Brutal. It's a lack of effort, physical effort. It's a lack of mental effort. And Joe, after the game, didn't want to say it was effort. He said it's an attention to detail, but that's to me, that's the same thing. And it may be semantics and it may be his way of protecting his team. But if ever there was a time to like blast your team to the media and send a message that this isn't acceptable, this is the time. And maybe this is part of Joe Mazzulla's growth. There is more growth, obviously, for Mazzulla. And I still think, like, let me be clear. None of this impacts my belief in them winning a championship this year. This is the worst stretch that they may go through. This was horrible basketball, but I'm not looking at this loss as a bellwether for their ability to win the finals. I still think they can get through this and be fine. But the way they're playing now is so bad. It's hard to comprehend, first of all. It's hard to keep my train of thought, which I've just lost, because I'm thinking about how bad this defense was. But like I said, I don't think it's a long-term thing, but this is where Joe has to, I think, feel comfortable enough as a coach that you can give it to your team in the media and send them the message. Like, he can say whatever he wants in the locker room. Then he comes out to the media and he's like very straightforward. It's not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of, it's a lack of attention to detail. No, you know what? They're not trying to pay attention to the details. If I lack attention to detail in my podcast and my audio is way up and it's all crackly and the lighting is bad and there's misspellings on the graphic, that's just me being lazy. That's also no attention to detail, but that's because I'm being lazy about it. I'm not checking. I'm not focused. I'm just like, whoa. And I don't know, did they party in Toronto? Is Toronto, I've never actually been to Toronto. Is a Wednesday night in Toronto that hopping? I've heard Toronto's great. But is it so great that party you go Wednesday and like, is it that great that everybody's hungover? Is that all it was? Well, I tell you what, they played like they were drunk. They played like they were hungover. I would have loved for Joe to come out and say, you know what? And he didn't have, like, I'm not asking him to be Michael Malone, or Ime Udoka, but These guys do respond to that. And Joe has a championship under his belt. You've earned it. You have like some leeway. You can go out there and be like, you know what, this was unacceptable. What we did tonight was unacceptable. Effort-wise, attention to detail. This is not how we want to play. This is not how we want to look. And we cannot come out here and do this and think we're going to get away with this and then flip a switch. Because as Kristaps Porzingis said after the game, we do have to be honest with ourselves, because we can't keep thinking that we're going to come out here and do this and be fine, because that's when bad habits creep in. He's right. That's the one fear that we have in all of this. And I think Joe, if this happens again on Friday, Joe after the game, like, he has to at one point say, look, I'm not publicly going to accept this. I cannot publicly accept this. We are not playing great, but it's upstairs. It's our focus. It's our heart. It's our desire. We're not going to win a championship playing like this. If these guys want to go win a championship, they got to do what they did last year, and they got to fight through this stuff. Jaylen Brown, the offense, all of that stuff, because I'm going to revisit what I said to Jaylen Brown last week. That's next. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Hey, go check out our new newsletter, the Ultimate Celtics newsletter, now available at LockedOnDaily.com. Go to LockedOnDaily.com, click on that Locked On Celtics logo, sign up to get the newsletter directly to your inbox. Celtics national NBA coverage and fantasy coverage, all there, plus links to your favorite Celtics content. Go check it out. It's at LockedOnDaily.com. The offense looked terrible for stretches. The non-Tatum minutes were awful. Second quarter, the Jaylen Brown minutes were terrible. It was slow. There was a lot of standing around. There was a lot of waiting for the matchups. This is not Celtics basketball. This was stand there, look, who do I want? Okay, bring Porzingis up, bring whomever up. I'm going to run my pick and roll, dribble, turn it over, or dribble, miss a shot, not really making the passes, not really moving the ball, not playing with any energy. That is terrible. This is not Celtics basketball. That is not Celtics offense. Celtics are supposed to be running 0.5 offense. The 0.5 concept, we've talked about it many times. You've heard about it many times. 0.5 basketball is you catch the ball, you have half a second, 0.5, to make a decision. Either pass it, dribble it, or shoot it. It's quick. It's not easy to do, but boom, catch, read. Where's my guy? Is he up on me? Can I dribble past him? Is he off me? Can I shoot? Is there a lane for a pass? Is there a cutter? Pass. And you've got to do something within that half second. So what the Celtics played was 5-second basketball. They just took 5 full seconds, like, oh, okay, let's set this pick, and let me just dribble. Let me just try and dribble. Let me dribble between my legs. Oh, I'm going to left hand. Nope, that's not going to work. It's horrible. Horrible. But that was Jaylen Brown's game. Worst game I've seen him play. Just his head was not there. He looked slow. I can tell when Jaylen is running, his head's down, and it's almost like he's dragging his feet, and they're scuffing along the floor as he's running. He's not running with any purpose. He's not running with any speed. He's not really focused on the game. It's just not happening. This was awful, and I'm singling him out because he's the one that wants to play fast. He's the one that wants to play a certain brand of basketball, and he did not play it. This was awful. I am never, ever you got to bench this guy. But at the beginning of the fourth quarter, when he was out there, I was like, dear God, Joe Mazzulla, put Peyton Pritchard in, because Pritchard was having a really good game. Really, the only Celtic who had a consistently good game was Peyton Pritchard. 20 points, 7 of 11 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 assists, just a steal, no turnovers, +6 in a game where the Celtics lost by 13. He was a +6. Luke Cornett was a +7, by the way. But Pritchard was consistently good. And at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I was like, Joe, just sit Jaylen and whatever. Sit him out now. We can put him back in later. But put Pritchard in, because that was their best chance. It's so bad. It was so bad that I actually tweeted it out. I'm somewhat concerned about whether something's going on in Jaylen's life where he's playing this poorly. Is there some sort of personal issue that he's having? Because this was so bad that I'm like, this can't be Jaylen Brown. We haven't seen this Jaylen Brown since maybe the finals against Golden State. Like, this Jaylen Brown is the old Jaylen Brown, where his head's not in the game, totally distracted, making mistakes. You're like, do you even remember how to play basketball? Do you have a concussion? What is this? Am I being hard on Jaylen Brown? Yeah, because he's supposed to be better. He's a much, much better player than what we saw in this one. 4 of 16 shooting. He only took 1 3 and made it. So that means he was 3 of 15 from 2. He had 7 rebounds. He had 4 assists, couple of turnovers. They were live ball. They're not good. A -23. -29 for Derek White. When have I seen Derek White be a -29 in a game? That's just awful. He hit 1 3-pointer, and I was like, ooh, maybe this could be the day. Maybe he's breaking out of it. No. But Jaylen, excuse me, last week he got upset because I asked him, I forget the exact phrasing of the question, where I asked him, last year, you guys fought through a lot of these tendencies, the pitfalls, the traps of the season. And he said, this is a different year. I said, but why aren't you guys fighting through that this year? And he got upset. He said, I think we're fighting. You can say, if you don't think we're fighting, that's your opinion, but I would say that opinion's not valid. I'm curious to see if he still thinks that, because I didn't see fight against the Raptors. I didn't see any fight against the Raptors at all. You can't tell me you're fighting. You can't get mad at me for saying, why aren't you fighting through this stuff? And then go out there and play like this. You can't possibly throw that out there and be upset at the notion that you're not fighting and then go and play that kind of game. That is awful. And you can't get upset if I'm going to be asking, why aren't you guys fighting? If they put this effort together against Orlando and I'm asking him about fight and he gets upset, what am I going to say? What can I say? Be like, buddy, you just look at the way you've played. You can't tell me, are you honestly telling me that the Toronto game was fight? If they do that again against Orlando, you're going to tell me that's fight? No way. Like, you can be honest and be like, we're going through it right now. And it's fine. And I hope there's nothing personal going on that's impacting these guys and making them not play well. Like, this is an incredibly bad stretch from Derek White. This is uncharacteristic Jaylen Brown basketball. And let me be clear. This isn't a personal thing. I like Jaylen Brown. I have the deepest respect for Jaylen Brown. I think he's an incredible basketball player, one of the best basketball players in the world, a finals MVP who deserved the finals MVP. And he's going to have to play an important role. He's going to have to go back to that if the Celtics are going to do this again. But this, whatever this was horrible. Derek, I think he's also playing like distracted. And I don't understand why he's going through this slump, but hey, he's going through the slump. I think he's definitely going through a slump. I don't know. I don't know what else is behind that. Like I said, Pritchard was good in this game. Porzingis was pretty good for stretches here. He was 4 or 5 from 3, but he also had some defensive like mistakes. So I'm going to say he was like 70-30 good. Tatum did not shoot particularly well. 5 of 15, 3 of 9, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 16 points, a block. He wasn't great, but man, the offense was a lot better when he was on the floor. But Pritchard was the reason why they had it close. Porzingis kept them close for a while. Wow. No redeeming value in this game for me. Like, I can't even look at this and be like, oh, we're taking this positive out of it. This to me is the worst loss of the season without question, because it was just gross and obvious. I don't think it compares. I don't think the OKC loss compares to this, because that was poor decision making. This is not like this was. I get mad. I get mad when the game is disrespected. I've said this a million times. My loyalty is not to the Boston Celtics. My loyalty is to the game of basketball. That's what I love. My loyalty is to the game of basketball, which has given me everything positive in my life. I owe basketball. The one way I can pay basketball back is to hold everyone to the standard of great basketball and respecting the game. That's how I approach all of this. The Celtics did not show the game the proper respect against the Toronto Raptors. And that's why I'm so down. That's why I'm so negative about this, because that was not good basketball. That was not respecting the people who work hard. And like, I would rather have seen Jordan Walsh and Nemish Queta and Tillman and Springer and Cornette, and Pritchard. I would rather have seen those guys for 48 minutes, because they try hard. They would try hard. And they might have lost that game too, but they would not have played with this kind of effort. So you gotta give the game the respect it deserves. And I understand it's the lulls of January and this is a tough time. And I get all that, right? But the way you do that is you can coast for a little bit and then turn it on. That's what good teams normally do. 2-3 quarters of, oh God, this is annoying basketball. In the fourth quarter of like, oh, okay. 12 minutes of effort. That's all it took. 6 minutes of effort. That's all it would have taken. Like this game in the fourth quarter, you can pick, I don't know, halfway through the fourth quarter. It was, let's see. It was 97-86 with 7:48 to go. Okay. An 11-point game. Turn it on at that point. You could have whipped off an 8-0 run right there and been right back in it. 97-94, and then put the pressure on the other team. But the Celtics just never really made that run. So look, they can come back against Orlando and be fine, and it's fine. I'm perfectly willing to say this is an isolated case. That's fine. But again, to Porzingis' point, got to be careful about this. We're starting to get to the point where it's like, if you don't start learning the lessons and if you don't start turning it around, then we have to question how serious you really are. We're not at that point yet, but all of a sudden I can see it on the horizon. So Orlando, Atlanta, those are important games now. Those are important games. We'll see how they play. I just want to see them play well. I will be here for those. I have another podcast tomorrow before those games, but podcasts every day this week, 7 days of podcasting, which means I'll be podcasting all into next week too. So we'll be at 13, 14 days in a row. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever it exists. This podcast exists. Watch a show on that YouTube page. Get into the comments section. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you agree, disagree? And I would love it if you shared the podcast and spread the word. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.